What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with today's update, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then do subscribe. Remember, I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day here on YouTube with all the latest City transfer news. You don't want to miss a thing, so do subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links are in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's update. We're aiming for 300 likes, and also don't forget as well to get your thoughts in the comments below. So it's all about the outs with Manchester City, and we've got the very latest on James McAtee. Now, Nottingham Forest, according to the Daily Mail, are planning to turn their interest in James McAtee into a bid. And I just want to say, finally, we've seen so much interest in James McAtee this summer, whether it be from a handful of clubs from the Bundesliga, 2 or 3 clubs coming in from Serie A in Italy. We've seen lots of interest from Premier League teams in James McAtee, and it's all just been that word, interest. And I've been calling for the last few days for this interest to actually turn into bids, concrete offers with money offered to Manchester City, so we can start to negotiate and sort out the future for James McAtee. He's got 11 months left on his contract at Manchester City. He's not going to be signing a new contract, so it's well within City's best interest for James McAtee to leave this summer whilst we can still get a good amount for him rather than letting him leave for free next summer. There's not too much concern when it comes to the homegrown quota at Manchester City, whether that be players classed as homegrown, either being born in England or classed as a homegrown player from the academies, or a homegrown player that's come through Manchester City's own academy. There's no real concern. So James McAtee can leave Manchester City with no real repercussions. So it's just about a club paying the money that Manchester City are happy to accept when it comes to James McAtee. And the Daily Mail are saying that Nottingham Forest want to steal a march on everybody else. They want to get the ball rolling. They want James McAtee to come in, and I presume that keeping one eye here on McAtee in terms of the long-term replacement for Morgan Gibbs-White, which is becoming quite a complicated situation, that's to say the least, really, when it comes to his potential transfer to Tottenham Hotspur. So that is something I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for, but right now I'm not expecting Manchester City to be matching Tottenham Hotspur's bid or making any bid for Morgan Gibbs-White. This is very much a separate transfer, and it's all about Nottingham Forest wanting to sign James McAtee from Manchester City. So the Mail are saying that Nottingham Forest are planning to make a £25 million bid plus add-ons for James McAtee. Manchester City is seeing McAtee as on par with what they sold Cole Palmer to Chelsea for a couple of summers back, which I think at the time he had around 10 months left on his Manchester City contract, and Manchester City managed to get £40 million for Cole Palmer, which Manchester City were happy to accept, and Cole Palmer wanted to leave Manchester City. And it's a similar situation here with McAtee. You know, he's running his contract down, he wants to leave the club. As long as we get a good offer, he will leave Manchester City, and because James McAtee has ended up featuring for City more than what Cole Palmer has, and obviously both players being attacking players who are quite versatile, high-quality young players, homegrown players, English players. Manchester City are looking for around the same price. Now, City are going to really struggle to get Cole Palmer's price here for James McAtee, not because I think that James McAtee isn't as developed or as good as Cole Palmer. Who knows what the future will hold? We never know. James McAtee may end up being far better than Cole Palmer, or he may not. I don't know what the future is going to happen for these players, but what I do know is Manchester City didn't include a buyback clause or sell-on fee for Cole Palmer. That's why we managed to get at the time a good money offer for him at £40 million. So if City want £40 million for James McAtee, then expect Manchester City to not have a buyback clause or a sell-on fee included, which for me, I would accept less. I would be happy for Nottingham Forest to come in with £25 million. As long as there's a sell-on fee and buyback clause included in that, I would accept that offer. I don't think it'll be a very high sell-on fee. I reckon you're probably looking 10, 15% at most. I'd be very surprised if any club were prepared to go to 20% or more. And in terms of the buyback clause, it would probably end up being quite an expensive buyback clause. There's no, obviously, if they're going to be spending somewhere between 25 and 40 million pounds to sign James McAtee, they're not going to, set a buyback at 40 to 50 million pounds. It just doesn't make much financial sense. They'll want to make a good sized profit, and a good sized profit would be 20, 25, 30 million pounds on top of what Nottingham Forest are prepared to pay Manchester City. So let's say if they do include a buyback clause and sell-on fee and 25 million pounds and Man City accepts that, I reckon City would probably get a buyback clause probably worth around 45 to 55 million pounds is what I would be looking at in terms of that transfer, along with a 10 to 15% sell-on fee. But if City want 40 million pounds, then there will be no sell-on fee, which means we won't get any money for the future payments that's paid for James McAtee, and not including the buyback clause puts Man City in a weak spot when it comes to the possibility of bringing James McAtee back. So it's all about here, what do Manchester City want to accept? What are they looking for? That needs to be negotiated and sorted out with Nottingham Forest if and when they do come in with this bid, which the Mail are saying is going to be pretty soon. As I said, personally, £25 million, good sell-on fee, good buyback clause included. And I'd let James McAtee go to Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest have got money to spend. We know they've got money to spend with them potentially selling Morgan Gibbs-White for £60 million. So Man City may just try and strive a little bit more to see exactly about the ceiling value of what Nottingham Forest are prepared to pay. But the ball pretty much in Man City's court here because there's so much interest, and what I think would serve City really well here would be one or two more teams coming in and letting it be known how much they're prepared to spend, and then that puts City in a good negotiating position to sort out a transfer, which for me needs to be sorted before the end of July when players report back for the start of pre-season and the preparations for the start of the 2025-2026 season. And speaking about preparations for the 2025-2026 season, takes us nicely onto a really interesting update and quite heartwarming as well on Jack Grealish. So some gossip first. We'll go through the gossip first before I give my thoughts on this. So Jack Grealish has been spotted on TikTok at Heaton Park yesterday for the Oasis concert in Manchester. He spoke to some Manchester City fans at the concert who recorded Jack Grealish saying that he loves Manchester City more than anything else in the world. He said maybe there's one thing that he does love more than Manchester City, and that is the Manchester City fans. Now, he does seem drunk when he's saying this, going off the pace of his speech, going off the slurring of his words, but definitely maybe this is part of Jack Grealish's master plan to stay at Manchester City this summer. I do joke about that. I don't think he is going to stay at Manchester City, but I did want to chuck in some Oasis puns there. And also, big up Pep Guardiola going to the Oasis concert with his daughter yesterday as well. Retro City shirts on. A shout out from both the Gallagher brothers at the concert as well. Meeting the band, meeting Richard Ashcroft, having a great time. Was fantastic to see him smiling, singing and enjoying himself. You know, it was fantastic to see. It warms the heart, as does the words that Jack Grealish has said as well, and to me, you know, really helping to improve his relations with the Manchester City fans and the club as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see in terms of the development here of what happens with Jack Grealish, because in all seriousness, we've had no permanent offers for Jack Grealish, so the question is, do Manchester City want to contemplate a loan? And if Pep Guardiola wants to bring down the size of his squad, it probably means that Jack Grealish would have to leave, but it seems Hugo Viana wants Manchester City to have a really good sized squad so they can compete on all fronts when it comes to trying to win the biggest and best trophies, which means you're going to need your depth. So keeping Jack Grealish could still be an option here for Manchester City this summer, and I'm wondering about the possibility here that if City don't want to go for a loan, that Jack Grealish could stay and fight for his place at Manchester City. I don't think he is going to stay. I think he will leave ahead of a World Cup year next year, and it feels like his future is away from Manchester City, but it makes this breakup between Jack Grealish and Manchester City just no easier, does it really? Having these heartwarming comments, bigging up the Manchester City fans, just some fantastic things to hear and see from the concert yesterday, and personally feel like Jack Grealish leaving would be a huge loss, not only to the City dressing room with his personality, but also to the community as well. Don't underestimate just what Jack Grealish does, not just for City and the community, but for the community as a whole. If people are struggling and you get celebrities reaching out, Jack Grealish is the man that's reaching out. Jack Grealish is the man that goes out of his way to meet people he's invited into the stadium who are going through tough times. Jack Grealish is just an all-round, sound, nice, top bloke. And as I said, the potential breakup here between Jack Grealish and Manchester City, it's getting no easier, is it? But I reckon Jack Grealish will leave. I'm not too sure if it'll be permanent or on loan. I think for the sake of his career, he's going to have to leave. I don't think he's in Pep Guardiola's plans. I don't think it aids him to just sit on the bench and be a squad player. Jack Grealish needs to go somewhere where he can be the main man, where he can flourish, where he can get back to being the very best. And I just don't feel like that is going to happen at City. But of course, with the transfer world, it's business orientated and things have got to make financial sense. City will want to clear Jack Grealish off the wage structure. Manchester City will want a good fee if it is to be a permanent transfer. If it's to be a loan, they'll want a club paying a lot of Jack Grealish's wage, which is a lot. Obviously, near enough £300,000 a week. Manchester City would want a good loan fee as well. Grealish has got 2 years left on his City contract, and it's very much what Hugo Viana is going to be getting paid the big bucks for to sort out. He needs to sort out the future of Jack Grealish. But the comments and things that's been said and stuff with Jack Grealish there, heartwarming, and it's going to make the exit of Jack Grealish potentially this summer hurt just that little bit more. And I think he'd be a big loss to Manchester City. And don't underestimate the impact that people have around other people when it comes to the day-to-day life at the football club. You need big personalities. You need players who are going to be players who are going to be consistent in terms of not just their work ethic and their professionalism and also their ability to what they can bring on the pitch, but you've also got the other side of work and these relationships that happen, the bond between the players, the feel-good factor, the players who are going to help players in the difficult moments, and they can turn difficult moments into good moments because the season's 10 months long. It's a long season. Things do go wrong, and you need players who are going to have that personality, who can help bring out the very best in the squad, and Jack Grealish does do that. So I just think that's worthwhile thinking about, that if Grealish does leave and Manchester City want to bring some more players in, maybe not in this summer transfer window, but in the later summer transfer windows, maybe into next year, something to think about in terms of personalities around the dressing rooms. We don't want things to be too robotic, because not having personalities just kind of takes the soul away from the club. And what we saw yesterday with these comments from Jack Grealish and the videos and pictures of Pep Guardiola shows that the heart and soul of Manchester City very much is still there, being brought out to what I think is a fantastic irony with the Oasis concert. So yeah, there we go. They're my thoughts. Do let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's transfer update. We're aiming for 300 likes. Any help towards that would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. It is free to subscribe. Don't forget as well, social media links, they're in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships or any videos or any general business inquiries. And religiously, tomorrow I'll see you again with another daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.